We are solving quadratic equations. Our quadratic equation for today is 3x squared plus 1 equals negative 4x. Whenever you solve a quadratic equation, it has to equal 0. So your first step is to rewrite it in that form. So we have 3x squared. You're going to have to add 4x to both sides, and you want to put it in the same order. So 4x and then plus 1 equals 0. So you have to have them always, regardless of which method you are using, it always has to equal 0. If we are using the square rooting method, it says the square rooting method only works if there is no bx term. Now we do have a bx term, so square rooting will not work for this problem. The next method would be factoring. Again, when you factor, the first thing you look for is a greatest common factor in all three terms. And I do not see a greatest common factor, so the next thing that we would do is we would do a quadratic trinomial. Because the a term is a 3, we have to again multiply a times c, and we get 3. We want to write out all the factors that multiply to 3, and now they have to add to 4, so that's why we make them both positive. So that we would have this now look like x plus 1 and x plus 3, and it equals 0. Now clearly this does not FOIL out to the same thing, so we continue through our steps, and it says, then put each number over a, so that we get x plus 1 over 3, and we get x plus 3 over 3, it still equals 0, and then it says, if possible, simplify. So we have x plus 1/3, that cannot be simplified, but this can be x plus 1. And then it says, now do bottoms up. So you would bring your 3x to the front, so you have 3x plus 1, and then x plus 1 equals 0. From here, you would use your zero product property, where you set each term equal to 0. After you have each factor equal to 0, you solve. So we were able to solve by factoring and came up with that x equals negative 1/3 and x equals negative 1. The next method that we will try is graphing. Remember, graphing only works if you have real numbers, and both of ours are real. When you graph, you hit the y equals button. You have to plug it in exactly as it is when it's equal to 0. So you will have to plug it in, and I erased it. It was 3x squared. And then we added our 4x, and then we had our plus 1. So it has to be set equal to when it was equal to 0. And then you will just hit graph, just like we had before, and now you use that second trace button to find the 0, because we made it equal to 0. Again, left bound, you're thinking this could be one of your solutions, so you pick something to the left, like a negative 5. You can also arrow. Something to the right would be something in here, so maybe a, I don't know, a negative 0.5. And then you're taking a guess over here, and one of our guesses is again negative 1. You repeat the process, find the 0. This is to the left of the other point. Something to the right of the other point could be a positive 6. And then our guess is somewhere in the middle, maybe around 0. Again, you can always type in, or you can use arrow keys, and we get a negative 0.3 repeating, which is a negative 3. So you can solve it by graphing, factoring, and you can always solve these equations by the quadratic formula. So let's do that next. Here's the quadratic formula. Just like all of them, they always have to equal 0. Figure out your coefficients a, b, and c, and now substitute those in. Now that you've substituted in, simplify, continue to simplify, square root. From here, you need to break it apart into the two equations. Continue to simplify, and reduce your fractions at the very end. So again, I get negative 1/3 and a negative 1. So for all of these, factoring, graphing, and quadratic, we've had the same two answers for each of the three methods. All options work.